Trump sold himself as a cure to the economic trouble and anxiety of the Biden years, but poll after poll shows that people are not feeling it. And here is one especially devastating one for Donald Trump. 26% of Americans feel better off financially than they were in September, with only a third saying they expect a better financial situation 6 months from now. So when asked, are you doing better a couple months in the Trump administration than you were a couple months, and again, they polled them on this a couple months before the election, when people were saying in poll after poll, I'm gonna vote against Biden because he's not doing a good enough job on the economy. And only about 1 in 4 Americans feel better off after getting what they voted for, which is Donald Trump. And okay, that's fine, that's the actual situation right now. I would add in, a lot of the damage from these tariffs hasn't even happened yet. So it's possible that this could be a high watermark for that number. I don't think that's an improbable thing. But even like being speculative, what do you think things will be better half a year from now? And that's relatively easy for a MAGA person to be like, well, yeah, everyone will bow to Donald Trump's alpha silverback gorilla will, and then we'll build 1,000 factories and we'll be much better off. Even when you ask them that, only 1 in 3 Americans say that they expect they'll be better off in 6 months. And so not great numbers. And when you break it down on more specific things, again, not great for Trump. 63% say they believe the government is not doing enough to address key economic issues like insurance costs. That's 95% of people said that. Inflation has 94% saying we're not doing enough. The general state of the economy, 89%. And 3 out of 4 Americans say they expect inflation to get worse over the next year. 95% were concerned about price increases. That is, when it comes to economic polling, about as dark a forecast as it gets. And then you have concerns about global trade wars and tariffs and all that, super high. So we'll get to worse, but Brett, what do you make of this initially?
It's like, if we you dated someone, you broke up, you start dating someone else, and you're like, I kind of wish I was back with that first person. And if you've ever gone through with that and dated them, and then you immediately remember why you broke up with them in the first place. Oh God, this is a mistake. Nope, I gotta go back. Maybe they'll take me back, something like that. That's one aspect of it that I really like. The other one is just like, this always happens. As someone who studied politics for a very long time, it is seldom the case that you're ever happy with what's going on in America.
Yeah.
What ends up, I did some seminars on this where whatever it was like before, you like it because you didn't die during it, is what it comes down to. It is very easy to mythologize, lionize, romanticize the past. But when the past makes its way back into the present, you hate that too. Until later, when you look at that second time you dated Donald Trump and you'll be like, that wasn't that bad. And the whole time, entire media and historical and entrenched apparatuses are trying to convince you that it's good or horrible. Something's gonna win out, and it's more likely, you just look at the ensuing election after a presidential one, when the incumbent House loses seats.
Yeah.
Because it's tough to America. A lot of it is just long-term issues that make it difficult to America better. And then a bunch of short-term things that are affecting you now that they all kind of are a headwind for whoever's in charge because it's very difficult to lead. And it is made worse and easier to dislike Donald Trump when he's so frantic and weird and obviously failing at stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and when he can't, people wanted Biden to do a lot, but they also, in the short term, wanted him to at least express an understanding of the struggles and maybe admit where he failed. That can help to placate people a little bit. Trump can't do that. Constitutionally, he just can't do that. And his recent defense mechanism against any bad news, when he's asked about it, he's just like, I haven't heard anything about that. Dude, you've been running for years on the former guy was tapped out and didn't know what was going on, and he's just a puppet being controlled. And now your defense is that you don't know literally anything that's going on in America or around the world. Not a great defense. I love your analogy, by the way, to getting back with a former ex. The issue, we haven't really had this experience of the non-consecutive terms, certainly consecutive, certainly after felony convictions and all that. So this is sort of new for America, but also it would be one thing if Trump was just as bad as he's always been, and now people get reminded of that. But he's not as bad as he's always been. He's way, way, way worse. Way more aggressive. He's doing way more of the exact sort of damage that got him thrown out of office the first time. And so it's why I want to check in on this every once in a while. It's a reminder that people can actually see what's happening and they can draw, in some cases, the right conclusions. And so therefore also a little bit of hope for the future.